What's happening, my man, Coach?
Nothing much, buddy. I am actually in the middle of cooking dinner as we speak.
Oh, you want me to let you go?
No, I'm good. Just, trying to multitask and, keep the wife happy.
How's that going?
Hey, well, you probably shouldn't be asking me. You should probably ask her.
All right, I will.
Think you're doing pretty solid.
Okay.
Pretty solid. So, what about you?
It's going well. I had a massage today.
For what?
Well, I bought a package before the race, and then I kind of catching up on things. You know what I'm saying?
Where do you go?
I just go to a place.
Oh, you go. Let me guess. You go to that spa down on Gallatin with like the neon pink sign in the front that says "We do nails / spa" with like blinking lights, with the curtains and the wrought iron front door.
Hey, listen, dude. I don't go there, but don't think I haven't thought about it. Don't think I haven't thought about it.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So today is the first Squadcast.
The high demand. We want to have a Squadcast, and you ask, and usually we do our best to make it happen. So yeah, I'm super pumped to do this and to literally do as many of these as we can to kind of like we talked about in the previous podcast why we were doing these. I think I even mentioned on somebody's post that was doing an intro in our closed group. It's that I think sometimes athletes tend not to want to open themselves up because they feel like everybody is like that perfect Instagram post and that perfect life, and you have to have all this experience and PRs and great times. But I think everybody, regardless of experience, time, athletic ability, age, whatever, really, really does have something to contribute, and that's what we really hope this does, and I'm sure that a lot of things that we'll discuss today will resonate with a lot of people out there.
I think so. I know they resonate with me because I'm a late comer and I had nothing to do with triathlon.
Yeah. Very true.
I think that, and tons of people are that way. I mean, that's sort of the nature of the sport.
It is. Yep.
So why don't you bring her in?
So we have with us today, at least my favorite athlete today, Somer Scandridge, not to be pronounced Somer, but Summer, like the season, just not spelled that way, correct?
Correct.
Correct. Yes, Summer and I have been working together since, what do you want to say? You want to say June? Is that right?
I would say June.
Okay, we'll say June, and I would say you're fairly new to the sport. Is that correct?
Very new. I did a triathlon. I think it was back in 2010 because I lost a bet. The Titans were playing the Saints, and I was like, the Saints are going to win, no doubt about it. And that didn't happen. So I had to do a triathlon wearing a Titans jersey. But
did you have to swim in it?
No, I put it on afterwards for my bike and my run. But yeah, that was the only one, and I didn't train for it, so it was unexpected. So it wasn't. It was terrible, to say the least. So I would say yes. I officially started in March.
March. Okay. So I think you'll cover this as you kind of tell us a little bit about yourself and your life. How much is your life different from your Titans jersey debut in 2010 to taking on triathlon here this last March in 2017?
Oh gosh, everything. Everything is different. I was single, no kids. This is actually right before I started dating my husband. So, I just got to do kind of whatever I want. And now with training and, trying to work around kids' schedules and my husband's schedule, everything's way different. It's a lot harder. Everything has to be a lot more structured. Even though it's chaos most of the time, but I try to structure it. But yeah, it's so different.
So, and you're in Houston, correct?
I am Houston. I'm actually in Spring. It's a little suburb outside of Houston, but pretty much Houston. Yeah.
Gotcha. So new, very, very new. And you've done how many races this year?
So this one, I've done 2 sprints, and I just did an ollie in, what was it, October? Yeah, October 8th, I want to say.
Yep, October.
Hey, if I could go back to that Titans jersey for a second.
Oh, God.
Well, no, just the time period. But is this back when now? I noticed that you used to ride dirt bikes, motorcycles. Is this back in that day? I mean, did you just do that triathlon without any like triathlon type skills, and you're a motorcycle rider, or what was going on back then?
So I did have I had a street bike then. So that's when I had I had a street bike. So crotch rocket, I guess.
You had a crotch rocket?
I did.
Oh.
That's good for Arrow. That's the Arrow.
It is. Your new nickname is Too Fast, Too Furious.
There you go. I'll take it. Not anymore though. I'm pretty much too slow, too furious. But yeah, so that time I had a street bike. I didn't have my dirt bike. I actually didn't get my dirt bike. Chris and I got those after we had kids because we were yearning for something extreme because it was kind of new to me not to have really anything anything in the background for me to do. And so I was trying to jump back into something that was extreme, but not to where, cars could hit me doing 80 down the highway. And so we did dirt bikes. But yeah, before then, so I've loved mountain biking forever. So I was real big into mountain biking back in 2010. And, I had my street bike. I ran. It's a poor excuse, but I did what I could. I've always hated running, but it's something that's coming around. But yeah, I mountain biked a lot. So that, that was kind of my exercise, I guess you could say, for kind of being in shape, but I never swam. If you went back and looked at my swim, oh gosh, you'd be so embarrassed for me. It was terrible. I mean, it was in a pool, so you did the little snake swim. So everyone was pretty much swimming over me. I had to stop at every wall. I mean, it was awful. Just getting under the rope to get to the next side, I was like, dear God, help me. I'm dying. This is what death feels like.
We've all been there.
Oh, God. It was embarrassing. But I finished. So, it's what it is.
And now she's a Titans fan.
And now she's not. Gosh, the crotch rocket thing, it's going to take me a while to get over that one.
Oh,
that's all right. So walk us through, we've been doing this thing on our active athlete closed group for other athletes that are on our team. And walk us through kind of your intro, like what you shared in the group, why you got into it, what it's done to you so far, and then we'll just kind of go from there.
Yeah, so, like I said in there, I was I don't want to say I was depressed, but I felt like I was kind of heading down that path. I love my kids more than anything, but I've always been so into, I guess, fulfilling the extreme side of me. So there's always been something really crazy going on in my life. And then all of a sudden I had kids, and the only crazy thing is I didn't get any sleep at night. And then, I mean, yeah. So everything kind of just came to a halt, and it's like I didn't have my job anymore, so I wasn't contributing money-wise. I didn't feel like I was really doing anything for myself except for keeping my kids alive day to day, or my kid at the time.
Which is extreme.
Which is, yes, it can be. But it was more so trying not to go insane with the screaming and crying and not sleeping, and so I don't know. I felt like I was just heading down this road of not having anything. And, then we did the whole dirt bike thing, and that was fun for a little bit, but to think that I could get away, when you've got a trailer up your bikes, you got to take them out, and usually you got to go at least an hour away to find good trails. And then you're gone for 4 hours, and you got to trailer them up, come home. I mean, that's a whole day. So to try to find people to babysit our kids for a whole day, enough to fulfill that need for me, it just wasn't going to happen. So we sold the dirt bikes, and then I was back to square one of what can I find for myself. And then, so Chris and I kind of started working out because we eat Mexican food all the time. We're actually going to Mexican food dinner tonight. Don't ask about my health. Just don't ask about what I eat, and we'll be all good.
Perfect.
So we were like, all right, well, let's just start going to spin class, because I've always loved spin class. I've always loved mountain biking. So just get me back on a bike. So we started going to spin class, and it was probably, we were maybe 2 months into it. And our instructor had asked, is anyone training for a triathlon or MS 150? And all of a sudden my ears perked up, and I'm like, okay, there's something. That's something that's crazy. I can do this. maybe, I don't know, probably not, but I'll try. And so and I knew Chris was not going to be on board. Like, I kept looking over at him, and I wanted to tell him during class, and while the teacher's yelling at us and the music's going, I wanted to be like, triathlons, we're going to do it. But I was scared. I was so scared to tell him because I knew he was going to be like, get the hell away from me. I'm divorcing you tomorrow. We're not doing that.
Really?
God, yes. Oh, I was so nervous. So we get back to the car, and because lately I've kind of been this person where I'm like, okay, well, let's get dirt bikes. Okay, well, let's do this. Okay, well, let's do that. And I knew he was just going to be like, oh, this is another summer thing that, so I was kind of nervous about
Another summertime.
Another summertime thing. So we get in the car, and we were probably in the car for, 5 minutes. It takes 7 minutes to get home. We're about to pull in the neighborhood, and I was like, so what do you think about maybe doing that thing, that triathlon thing that the instructor, I was beating around the bush. I was like weed eating around this bush, y'all. And I was like, what do you think about doing triathlon? And he just looked at me and he goes, absolutely not happening, not doing it. And I was like, okay, well, maybe not. Maybe don't just throw it out there that you don't want to do it. Maybe let's think about it. Maybe let's sleep on it. Maybe let's go have Mexican food and talk about it some more, after you've had one margarita. And so I just kept talking about it. For days I kept talking about it. I text 23, and I'm not even kidding. I remember this number like tomorrow, like yesterday, whatever. And I text 23 friends, and they all turned me down, every last one of them. And I was like, you've got to be flipping kidding me. What is wrong with this society? I was pissed, y'all. I was pissed. Like, nobody wants to go train for triathlons with me. How crazy can it be? It's crazy now that I'm in it, but at the time I thought they were all just lazy as hell. So finally, I think my husband started feeling sorry for me and he was like, okay, well, I'm not going to let you do this by yourself. So let's just sign up for one, and then maybe that'll get us in the mood to start training and whatever. So we signed up for a sprint before we'd even started training for one, just to keep us motivated. And yeah, we signed up for, it was a sprint. I guess it was in March, or no, it was in May, but we signed up in March. So we had a couple months to train for a sprint, which a lot of people would be like, oh, that's a whole lot of time to train for a sprint, but we did. And he loved it. I loved it. I was on cloud 9. The race was amazing. I got done, and I'm like, let's go home and sign up for another one. And he was all about it. And yeah, and then the more, and then we found the podcast, and we listened to that on the way to Florida. 14 hours to get to Florida. Well, 12 and a half, I guess. But we listened to you guys the entire way. I'm not even kidding. We pretty much, y'all were pretty much our best friends. We've known y'all forever at this point.
How did you get on us?
I just started listening to podcasts because there were so many questions I had, but I didn't know anyone that did it. I didn't know anyone to ask these questions except for Google, and we all know everything on the internet through. Yeah. So I started looking for some, podcasts, and I came across a couple, and then I ended up coming across the couple I came across, I don't even remember what they were, but I didn't like them. They were boring. And then I came across you guys, and actually my husband came across you guys, and the first one that he found was the how to get faster running slow, that one. And that's the first one that I ended up listening to, and I was hooked. And that night is when I contacted you, Robbie, and asked about coaching. And then that night you got back to me, and we were talking about pizza over text or something, 'cause that's what I had ordered. And from then on, I was like, I'm doing this. We're getting coaches. We're going to go all in. And from then on, that's what we've been doing. But he no longer does it because training was way too much for him with working. He has super weird hours with air traffic control. So, between training and doing his work and then not being able to see the kids that much and always having to find a babysitter, it was just getting to be too hard on really both of us. It's so much better now that he's actually not doing it, because when I'm out there on my, hour and a half, 2 hour ride with a 20-minute follow-up run, I don't feel guilty at all. I know that my husband's there with our kids, their dad, I don't have to rush home. I don't feel bad that someone's watching them. So it's all fallen into place. Let's just say that.
Tell me, I very accurately remember our first text conversation, because I know for a fact you'd order pizza because you said that I got back to you quicker than the delivery guy had delivered the pizza.
Exactly. That's exactly.
Yeah, but tell me about that balance. About, I think a lot of actually, I talked to a woman today who, and I know Chris well, and I worked with Chris, and I think, I think what's really underestimated in this sport is, from a spouse standpoint, and when you have kids, is that removing of like guilt. And that removing of it doesn't necessarily have to be shame, but I think it actually is for a lot of athletes, that they either end up resenting their training because they feel like it's taken away from their family, or when they do train, they don't get as much out of it, And I was explaining to this athlete earlier, in our conversation reminded me of you and Chris, is like, when you leave the house, you're supposed to be able to leave everything there. Like that's the point. That's the point of, or for a lot of us, and I know for you and, we, Allie and Hayden, like we do stuff together, but not like none of us, like we don't like to do it without the other, we can. And I think that, one of the biggest benefits, and why I think people gravitate towards this sport or running or anything else, is that, that opportunity to just leave everything else behind and just have 20 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, 2 hours just for me. But when you and Chris would both go out together, or you wouldn't know who, you're having to have somebody watch the kids, it's like your mind isn't with you, it's still at home. And
it was.
And so you don't really get that benefit. And so which I think is really, really common. And while I think Chris actually probably enjoyed it more than you think he did, I think what he did was was giving way to what he knew was going to get the best result, and that was, allowing you to do your thing and focus on it. That way, at least one of you can be 100%, and not both of you go into it kind of half-ass.
Right, and that's and that's how it all started. Was I had the passion to do it, and I wanted to do it with them because we love doing everything together, and that's just what we do. But this is one of those things that you do it 6 days a week, and doing that together 6 days a week, and you can't bring your kids, it just got to be a little hard. So, and I know he did, he enjoyed it. But it's like you say, you walk out the door and you want to go ride your bike, run, swim, and you want to leave the home life at home so you can focus on your training. And it wasn't like that for either one of us for a while, because we both felt so guilty. I mean, I remember being in the pool, and every, couple 100 meters I'd stop, and this is before I had this sweet Garmin I have on my wrist right now, but I would stop and look at the clock on the wall, because I would get nervous that maybe we were taking too long. And, and that was just, it was hard. It was hard because it's like, I didn't want to disappoint you. I didn't want to disappoint myself. I didn't want to disappoint my dad, who was watching the kids, and, or my kids, because I'm not there. So there was so much. So the fact that he's not doing it, and he's the best supporter. He always fills up the air in my tires before I go ride. He makes sure that, all my stuff's all set up, and he's always at every race. Well, I say every race. I've only done 2, I guess, without him, but he's always there. He was the best spectator, just follows me around the course like crazy. He's awesome. And so maybe that's, what was supposed to be, is I was supposed to do this, and he was supposed to be my big supporter,
Yeah, and it sounds like you guys have an awesome relationship. And
sure.
You guys, and the whole thing about doing stuff together and everything like that. But you said something in that introduction that I really was curious about and impressed by. Actually, is like you actually said that you kind of started to regret, his successful life and happiness outside of the home. And it was like something was missing, and you had to kind of have something that was driving you and your passion, and it sounds like that found it, and it's interesting that he jumped on board and did it with you, but now you guys have decided to kind of have it's your thing, sort of, in a way now. Right,
and it always was, and that's the thing. It's like when you talk about how I was resenting him, it was happening, and I hated it, but it would cause arguments, and because it's like I guess any stay-at-home mom can say this to their husband, and I'm sure how, I don't know how they would take it, but it's kind of like, you don't get it. Like, you're not here with them 24/7. Like, yes, that's my job. And, and it would cause arguments and fights, big fights. And so I think every time there was something that I wanted to do, like the dirt bikes and the triathlon, he was very quick to jump on board, because I think he did see the sadness. I mean, he saw a lot of the happiness when I was with my kids, but when it came to myself and fulfilling things for myself, there was a lot of sadness there. So now that I've got this, triathlon life and I'm training, he's even said it, he sees me, I'm a lot happier. Our relationship is a lot better, because it's like he gets to go to work, he does his thing. And then when he's here watching the kids, I'm out there training, doing my thing, and I'll do, my graphic design work from the side, every so often. But yeah, it's definitely made our relationship a lot better.
I think that's something that a lot of people. Well, I think to talk about it in general, we won't get into like parenting life podcast, but I know that was something that Allie and I talked about too, because I remember she told me at one time like the exact phrase that you used, and it was like she was at home for I think she's like, yeah, but you get to go somewhere.
Yeah.
It wasn't like so much like resenting me, but like the fact that I had something else, even if it was just like going to work, which for however many hours it's like I'm not having fun, but it was still something else,
right? And she may not even be getting mad at you, but you're the only person there for her to get mad at, so she takes it out on you. And that's what I was doing with Chris.
She gets mad at me, that's for sure. But no, I think that's I think understanding, and we talked this a long time ago, and probably bringing it up frequently, is that kind of why you get into triathlon. And then it's not so much the why you get into it, but it's why it continues to work. And I think a lot of people, get into it and they make, kind of like your decision to get into it was in the spin class, but it was your follow up and understanding exactly why you needed it and you needed to keep it, that made everything click from just like a crazy thing that 23 other friends wouldn't do, to not only do I want this and need something crazy, but I need this. Like, I need something in my life that's going to, allow me a chance to be Somer and not just a wife or not just a mom. And I think that as we all get, and you said this, Mike, like, as we all get older and you have so many people coming in as late, as like it's like we all grow up and we all mature, most of us. But you forget but just because everything is different doesn't mean that part of you's changed. And I think that what the sport allows you to do, if you do it the right way, is tap into that, even if it's just for a little bit. And that can really like re-energize your life.
Yeah, absolutely. And it definitely has, for the better. Absolutely.
Yeah, that was the thing, is like when I saw that, I was like, I wonder if that's a lot of people have that. I'm not married, but I thought, well,
if they have kids, yeah, it is.
Well, but I mean, even still, yeah, even they have kids, but yeah, I guess so. But everybody's got to have something, right? You have the kids together, and if you were home a lot by yourself, taking care of the kids and that sort of thing, it's really cool, because I think a lot of stay-at-home moms or dads or whatever probably feel exactly like that,
Yeah, I would imagine so. I have a couple of friends who are stay-at-home moms, and we all kind of feel the same way. We love it, but there's times that, we hate it. to be frank, it's not all buttercups and Reese's. It sucks sometimes.
God, it'd be awesome if it was, though.
God.
I know I did it for 2 weeks when we moved back to Nashville, and it was just like, I need some space.
Mm-hmm.
I need, like, even if it's like to go for like a walk around the block, like, something to like help dissipate the noise and the chaos. Even though, like you said, I wouldn't change it for anything in the world, but I think that like just doing it is a great thing, and I think getting ahead of where you knew you were probably headed was also an awesome thing. For just you personally and you and Chris's relationship. Again, it was like very similar conversation I had with this young lady earlier, whose husband told her she should do an Ironman. Which I'm like, that's not usually how it works.
No, that's pretty cool.
That's what I said.
Does he know what's going to go on there?
Yeah, well, he's a big runner, a big marathoner, but I was like, yeah, usually it's a pretty hard sell, but anyway, but I said that's awesome. But what he saw in her was that, like, she had put all of her eggs in basket one year for a marathon and wasn't able to complete it because she had to have surgery, and she had 2 kids, and now they're like gone, and she was starting to get like to that point of like, I don't have anything for me. Like, I need something for me, or I'm going to, it's something to struggle. And he saw that in her and was like, well, instead of just going down that, like, not depressed, but it can be depressing. Time is like, let's get ahead of it and let's get you something for you. And I think that is probably the most, if not one of the most common or popular, however you want to phrase it, reasons why people get into this sport is they wake up and they think that either they need a huge change, and this is the same thing, it's still a change in your life, or you get like, good God, I have like literally nothing left for myself anymore. And people often call it a selfish sport, even though I think it's the opposite. But you have to have something for yourself, or you have nothing else to give to other people.
That's very true. Couldn't have said it better myself.
So, but you could have put emojis that would have made it say it.
You're damn right I could have.
You could have.
So what's next? What's next for summer? Where are you heading now?
Well, so triathlon-wise, I have a race December 10th. I think it is December 10th. I checked the weather last year for December 10th, and the high was 54 and the low was 52. So,
Where is it?
I checked the weather after I signed up for it. It's here. It's in Town Lake. It's about 25 minutes from here, but it's part of a 3-part series, and I did the first 2, and I was going to do this one. But with Chris and I doing all these together, the registration fee, they were like 1 month right after the other. So with all the registration fees, it was getting to be just too expensive. So we decided to cut out the middle one and just do the first and third one. But because Hurricane Harvey came through, it was supposed to be in September. They canceled it and rescheduled it for December 10th. It was the only weekend they could find.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I'm in. I'm doing it. And then I was like, crap, it's cold in December. And I've already sent in my money.
Even in Texas. That's right.
I'm actually sitting outside right now. It's 55 here, I think, right now. It's freezing. Like, it's actually probably negative 13. I need to look at the weather. I'm old.
And then what about next year?
Yeah, and then in April, which, oh gosh, I'm so nervous already. I'm doing a half Ironman in Galveston, so the Texas 70.3. And I'm really excited, and I'm really nervous. Oh gosh, like I'm already losing sleep, I think, over it. I mean, it's going to be crazy. I have told my friends, they all think I'm nuts because every time someone has asked me to do a half marathon, I pretty much give them the eat shit and die look. And sorry, I probably shouldn't have said that. Now you got to put explicit on this podcast.
That's all right. We get more clicks when it says it anyway, so it's all good.
I'm sorry. So they, and then they see me signed up for this, and they're like, "Hold the phone! Like, you have told me my whole life that you would never ever, not even do a 10K, much less a half marathon, and you are about to go do a half Ironman. I'm completely baffled. Mind is blown, and I can't wait to see you die." Oh,
you've got awesome friends.
Yeah,
I'm you right. I'm gonna prove them wrong though. Just wait. If I can make the cutoff time for the swim and the bike, I'm gonna prove them wrong, y'all.
Oh God, stop it.
I'm kidding. I only said that because I knew it'd piss you off.
Yes, it does.
Yes.
But no, I'm really excited about it though. I'm looking forward to it. And then hopefully after that, I promised Robbie and myself I would not discuss a full Ironman until I do a half. So I'm not even going to go any further. So half is in April. That's the end game right now, and then we'll follow up after that.
All right, no discussion about Ironman. That's good.
Hey, you're coming to camp. in
Yes,
June.
yes, I'm coming to camp.
Yep.
Really excited. Yes.
Yep, coming to camp, staying at Casa Bruce.
Yep.
But yeah, Galveston's going to be an awesome experience. I'll be down there with you as my first race of the year. So, yeah, I've already deposited the check you sent me to have so I can pull you through the swim. So we're all covered. Yeah. No, you're going to do great. And as we kind of wrap things up, because there will be a lot of people that will listen to this that are either in your same shoes in the sport or in your same shoes out of the sport, thinking that they probably can't do this because they don't have enough time, or they just can't do it, or it'd be too selfish. So, I think it would be, you have much more to, the opportunity not to reach a lot of people. And I think, so what kind of, advice or experience or wisdom would you like to kind of get across to somebody who's listening that either is new to the sport and frustrated or finding it, a hard place to be, or somebody who's thinking, maybe somebody who's one of those 23 friends you have that said no, what advice and wisdom would you give to them?
I would say if it's something that you want to do, then you need to make it happen. If not, for yourself, for everyone around you, because if this is something you really want to do, it's going to make you way happier, which in turn will make you way happier with everyone in your life. I honestly never thought that I would be capable. When I said I was going to do a triathlon, I pretty much thought I was crazy too, but I wanted, I've been with the whole extreme thing my whole life, and to me this is extreme because I am not a runner. I'm starting to like running, but I've never liked it. I swim. I used to compete in wakeboarding. I was a competitive wakeboarder. The only swimming I ever did was taking off my board and swimming to the boat. So the fact that I needed to swim 1 million laps, I mean, I couldn't even explain the thoughts that I was having. But what I'm capable of doing now versus when I started is unimaginable. So if you're sitting in a position and you don't think you can do it, or you want to do it but you don't think you can do it, do it. You are definitely capable than what you're giving yourself. And if you're a mom and you're not thinking that you've got enough time or anything like that, you've got a good support system. Reach out to everybody around you. You sit down, come up with a game plan, let them know what you want to do, and make it happen, because you definitely can. It's doable. That's my advice.
And you deserve it.
Absolutely. You definitely deserve it. You deserve to be just as happy as everybody around you. So do it. Do it to it.
All right.
To it.
And you'll feel great, right?
I do. I feel amazing. I'm probably more fit than I think I have been since college. So that's one awesome plus.
You are. You're doing great.
Now, if we can just get that diet dialed in, we'll be ready to go.
Yeah.
Hey, we'll worry about that as we get closer. I'm not worried. I'm not worried about it.
Talking to a guy you ate.
That's my New Year's resolution. Nobody has that for their resolution, but I'm going to make that my resolution to eat better.
Right. You're the first
we'll see.
one. Yeah.
The first.
Robbie,
we'll see.
Robbie's a big fan of New Year's resolutions.
Yeah, I am a huge fan.
huge fan.
I'm a huge fan of Mondays and resolutions.
All right. Well, thanks.
That's it. That was awesome.
That was the first C26 Squadcast, and if you want to, interact with Somer, you can come in our closed group, Crushing Iron Group. You search that on Facebook. Got a lot of videos on YouTube. We got all kinds of things going, and we have the traditional podcast. Will continue to go Monday and Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we ham it up.
All the time.
Yeah, so thanks again, Somer. You've been great.
Awesome. Yes, thank y'all for having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks. No, we appreciate you making the time, and
of course.
We'll catch you next time.
All right, I'll see y'all later.
See ya.
Sounds awesome.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.